Sports unite different types of people worldwide, but have also produced some horrifying moments that have left a lasting impact. From gruesome injuries to intruders on the field, these are the terrifying moments witnessed across different sports. Without delay, let's dive in. Number 1. Emerging from flames. Grand Prix crashes are always terrifying, but Romain Grosjean's crash is straight out of Hollywood. A small, unintentional clip from a car behind sent Grosjean's Haas VF20 veering off track at a terrifying speed. In an instant, the car collided with the guardrail, splitting in two and bursting into flames. Hearts stopped among spectators and crew. Rescue teams rushed to the scene, but all they could see was an inferno with the driver missing. For 28 seconds, which felt like forever, everyone watched in horror, expecting the worst. Then, like a superhero, Grosjean emerged from the blazing flames. It was nothing short of a miracle, from crashing at speed over 140 miles per hour and being strapped inside the cockpit with fires reaching temperatures up to 1,000 degrees to walking away with only minor injuries. This wasn't just another terrifying moment in sports. It was a tale of resilience, defying the odds against all expectations. Number 2. Don't look. Defender Marcin Wasilewski executed a perfect tackle, hitting the ball cleanly. But the other player continued with the challenge, planting his studs directly on Wasilewski's leg. In agony, Wasilewski looked at his leg and couldn't believe it. ... It had been snapped. For a man who loves the game, this was not only painful, but heartbreaking. Such a severe injury means one can never be the same player they were just moments ago. Number 3. Hand grenade. A soccer player in Iran picked up something from the field and tossed it out of bounds, where it exploded. It turned out to be a hand grenade thrown by a spectator. Luckily for the player, he threw it away just in time. 1 second longer and it would have exploded in his hand. Number 4. Fence jump. After beating Conor McGregor, Khabib Nurmagomedov wasn't done with their months-long feud. He started yelling at Conor's team and then jumped the fence straight into the crowd. Now Conor's team was on himself, the champion was knocked out. It was time to throw the punch, and punches began flying from every angle. Things got even wilder when Nurmagomedov's team members entered the octagon and started attacking McGregor. One of the most hyped fights in MMA turned into complete chaos. Khabib had to be taken away to the locker room before he could even receive his championship belt. Number 5. Get down. During the third quarter of a high school football game, players and everyone on the field started running erratically.
What's happening?
I have no idea what's happening. What is going on?
Even the commentators were confused about what was happening, but soon realized after more gunshots were heard on the live broadcast. Someone on the visitor side of the stadium started firing his weapon, causing people to rush for safety. A few even laid down on the ground to avoid stray bullets. It turns out the alleged teenage wasn't even a student at either of the high schools playing in the game. It's so concerning to see that the increasing trend of gun violence among students is now even affecting sports events. Number 6. Wall ride. Ross Chastain pulled off a video game move to make his way into the championship round. In 10th place, facing elimination, he saw his rivals slowing down at the turn. In desperation, he mashed the gas and deliberately rode the wall. This daring move was later banned from being used again by NASCAR officials. Even Chastain himself admitted he used this move in video games and didn't think it would work, but with elimination looming, he had to go for it. And it paid off. Number 7. Plane crash. The batter is all set to face the pitcher when suddenly the referee signals to stop the game. Why? Because a freaking plane is heading toward the field and it crashes just outside the ballpark. You didn't see that one coming, right? Nobody is professional enough to continue playing after such an incident, so naturally, Players, spectators, and everyone rushed to the plane, which caught fire. Maybe it's time to put up signs for a no-landing zone to avoid disruptions in the future. Number 8. Worst crash. After crossing the finish line at the Coke Zero 400 race, a massive collision sent Austin Dillon's car from the bottom of the racetrack into the catch fence and then back on track. While the car was upside down with Dillon still inside, another car out of control hit it, spinning it several more times. Miraculously, Dillon walked away from the car on his feet, going from such a high speed to an abrupt stop and then getting spun around. Most spectators thought they had witnessed something tragic. This angle of the crash from the fans' point of view showcases the severity of the accident. These fans should be grateful for the sturdy fences, otherwise, who knows what could have happened. Number 9. Unbearable. Gordon Hayward was playing his debut match for the Boston Celtics, and 5 minutes into the season opener, he jumped to receive the pass and attempt an alley-oop shot, but instead collided with LeBron James and landed awkwardly, resulting in ankle dislocation. The ankle turned at such an odd angle that it was unbearable for anyone to witness. Even the players of the Cleveland Cavaliers were visibly disturbed after catching a glimpse of Hayward's foot. I mean, to have a career-altering injury in the first game after coming off your best season is truly heartbreaking. Number 10. Unusual attack. Evander Holyfield handed Mike Tyson his second loss of his career, and what they experienced when they met each other, Tyson did something really bizarre. In the third round of the match, when both boxers were clinching each other, Tyson pulled off an unusual attack. He started chomping on Holyfield's right ear. The referee quickly separated them, and Holyfield jumped in pain. As Holyfield walked away, Tyson shoved him from behind. This bite wasn't only of the match later. Tyson bit off Holyfield's other ear, for which Holyfield needed 8 stitches. The referee disqualified Tyson, who later claimed his bites were retaliation for illegal headbutts. Mike Tyson is a beast, we all know, but to see him behave like this? Shocking! Number 11. MotoGP mayhem. Did you know that MotoGP racing is considered even more dangerous than F1 racing? This scary crash clearly demonstrates why. The rider, Zarco, unexpectedly started braking at 300 kilometers per hour before approaching a turn, which caused another biker to clip him from behind, sending both of them flying off their bikes. On the side of the track, one rider was flipping out of control, while the other was sliding. Their bikes narrowly missed other riders and were thrown several dozen feet away, with one of them splitting into many pieces. Fortunately, neither of the riders sustained any serious injuries from this horrific crash, but from the condition of the bikes, you can imagine how deadly this sport can be. Number 12. Ice collision. During a game, Toronto Maple Leafs captain John Tavares fell to the ice after a hit by Ben Chariot. But as Tavares was compromising, Corey Perry, following the play in speed, unfortunately hit Tavares' head with his knee. Tavares laid on the ice, and when a rescue member came to assess the situation, they found Tavares unable to sit properly and was falling backward. This alarming sight prompted the referee to call for immediate medical assistance. Perry appeared to be trying to jump over Tavares. However, at the speed he was moving, it was hard to contain. Sports are scary. Just one small mishap can lead to tragedy. Number 13. Tree falls. When you want to watch golf, the last thing you would worry about is trees, right? Perhaps it's time to think twice and watch these 3 trees suddenly collapse at Augusta National Golf Course. Fortunately, the snapping branches alerted everyone in time to get out of the way, and no one was hurt. One spectator, let's call him Umbrella Guy, showed some impressive athletic skills that paid off in a life-saving way as he had the closest call with nature. Winds already affect the golf players' shots, and now it seems they are taking aim at the fans too. Number 14. Pacers versus fans. During the last quarter of an NBA match between the Indiana Pacers and the Detroit Pistons in 2004, Ron Artest fouled Ben Wallace, who then shoved him, setting off a brawl between both teams. Coaches and officials tried to break it up, and Artest, displaying he's all cool, laid down on the scorer's table. But then a Pistons fan chucked something at Artest, and he lost it, charging into the stands to confront the guy and his teammate Steven Jackson, having his back leap into action too. It turned into a full-on mess, with players scrapping with fans and chaos everywhere. Although coaches tried to explain to the Pacers players that it was only part of the game, when they managed to calm players on the court down, furious Pistons fans started throwing anything they could get hold of. It's just nuts that fans think they can treat players like that. Whatever beef was going on between the players should have stayed on the court. But one fan had to go and make it the worst night in NBA history. Number 15. Headlock. A basketball game turned into a mixed martial arts display when two players got into an altercation after the play. Rudy Gobert from the Wolves was trying to defuse the situation, but Draymond Green from the Warriors mistook him for an aggressor and put him in a headlock. All Gobert did was place his hands on Green's teammate to break things up, but it was enough to set Green off. While for basketball, it might seem unsportsmanlike, hey, if you're in trouble, you definitely want this guy on your side. He's got his teammates' backs. Number 16. Obsessed fan. Monica Seles was a shining star who had already won 8 Grand Slam titles before turning 20. She could have been the greatest female tennis player of all time. But everything changed on April 30th, 1933. While playing in the Hamburg Citizen Cup, a fan rushed onto the court and plunged a knife between the shoulders. Her scream was broadcast live on television. Spectators quickly subdued the man, but the damage was done. The attacker was an obsessed fan of German player Steffi Graf, whom Seles had beaten 3 months earlier in the Australian Open final. He was enraged by her victory. Seles didn't immediately realize what had happened. She felt a sharp pain and fell to the ground, only understanding the severity when she saw her hand painted red. Although she managed to win another title years later, she was never quite the same after this horrifying event. It's heartbreaking to see such an unhealthy obsession ruin someone else's career. Number 17. Snapped. Cuba's pole vault jumper was sprinting for his attempt, but as he set the pole and jumped, it snapped into 3 different pieces. This terrifying scene happened at the 2012 London Olympics, making everyone skip a beat. Fortunately, his forward momentum was just enough to land him safely onto the protective mat, and none of the broken parts hit him or anyone else around. A new fear unlocked, never attempting to jump with poles. Number 18. Heartbroken. In 2019, during a game between the Astros and Cubs, Albert Almora Jr. swung his bat, and the baseball ended up in foul territory, striking a 2-year-old girl. Almora watched in shock as the ball hit the girl. During halftime, Almora inquired about the girl, and a security guard informed him that she had been rushed to the hospital. This news broke him down, and he started crying on the field, with the guard comforting him.
It's just the way life is. As soon as I hit it, the first person I locked eyes on was her, so.
The compassion Almora showed and how deeply he was affected by the incident is evident. Sadly, the girl suffered a fractured skull and permanent brain damage. This is why ballparks should have more safety netting in place. Number 19. Skydiver. Do you think you have seen everything? How about a boxing match getting stopped because someone decided to make their entry from the sky? During the 7th round of the rematch between Evander Holyfield and heavyweight champion Riddick Bowe in 1993, skydiver James Miller descended from the sky but his parachute got stuck on the ring lights as he landed on the side of the ring, his legs tangled in the ropes next to Bo's corner. Bo's team wasn't happy about it and took him away from the ring, clobbering him with their phones and putting him to sleep. Security managed to control the crowd and get the fan man's stuck parachute and himself away from the place. The fight started again after almost a 30-minute delay. Talk about crashing an event, literally. Number 20, bird blow. Pitcher Randy Johnson threw a ball and boom. Known as one of the most devastating pitches ever, Johnson threw the ball so hard and fast, probably at 100 miles per hour, that it literally turned a bird into a cloud of feathers. Even with a Hall of Fame career, Johnson still gets asked more about the bird incident to this day. Number 21. Warrior. Su Li Wen, at the 2008 Olympics, is a true champion story. Going into the bronze medal fight, she was already battling a foot injury. Sounds familiar, right? Like the Karate Kid scene, but way tougher. Su Li started strong, scoring first, but the pain kept taking her down. Despite falling 11 times, her fighting spirit wouldn't quit. She got back up each time. The match was tied after 3 rounds, but her opponent won the match on a decisive point. Su Li Wen may not have gotten the bronze, but she won something way bigger, the respect and admiration of everyone watching. Her courage was unreal. Number 22. Neymar. Brazil forward. Neymar, at the age of 22, was the leading scorer for Brazil in the 2014 World Cup. But in the quarterfinals, he took a knee to the back from a Colombia defender. Agonizing in pain, he screamed on the field, unable to move his back without hurting. He sustained a horrific injury. One of his backbones was fractured and was ruled out for the rest of the tournament. What a sad ending to an extraordinary run for the youngster playing his first World Cup. Number 23. Hustle clash. Now we have one of the worst collisions in the history of Major League Baseball. Mike Cameron and Carlos Beltran both dove for the ball and collided head-to-head. For a short while, both men lay there, seemingly lifeless. Beltran managed to get back up on his feet after a few minutes, but Cameron couldn't. They had to carry him off on a stretcher. Though Beltran walked off the field, he had no idea what had just happened and felt as if he had been hit by a train. As for Cameron, he suffered a few cheekbone fractures and a broken nose. It's a relief that even after such a collision, both players were in non-threatening condition and were able to hit the field once again after some time. Number 24. Misconduct. And for this ball boy incident, it wasn't the sun, but a kick by British footballer Eden Hazard. However, this young ball boy isn't as innocent as he seems. The other team was leading with less than 10 minutes remaining, so he was trying to waste time. Eden wasn't having any of it and tried to kick the ball but hit the ball boy instead. He was given a red card and a 3-game ban. It's well-deserved because that's not how you treat kids. Number 25. Flashback. This is the moment Australian fast bowler Sean Abbott's bouncer hit the batsman in the head. He quickly approached to tend to the batsman and saw him losing his balance. Though the batsman was fine, it must have given Sean Abbott a scary flashback to when his bouncer tragically struck Philip Hughes, another Australian batsman, ending his life. Number 26. Dropped. Spectators were watching a beautiful and flawless execution by figure skating pair Tatiana Totmianina and Maxim Marinin from Russia. However, their perfect performance took a terrifying turn when Marinin lost his balance during a lift, causing Totmianina to fall on her head. After the fall, she could barely move and was dangerously injured. I mean, for gymnasts and many other sports, there is always a protective mat if an athlete falls, but to fall on hard ice, that must have hurt super bad. Number 27. Photographer. During a football game, an Auburn player trying to tackle Georgia's receiver got shoved out of bounds and collided with a student photographer. The Jordan-Hare Stadium fell silent, and worry was visible on the fans' faces as they watched the scary incident unfold. The photographer remained unconscious for several minutes. When she finally opened her eyes, she was taken to the hospital. Photography isn't typically considered dangerous, but being around fast-moving athletes can make you very vulnerable. Number 28. Revenge. A seagull took an unexpected hit from a cricket ball and ended up sprawled upside down on the field. Just when things seemed dire, a fielder came to its rescue, escorting it off the pitch. But the drama didn't end there. Outside the boundary line, the bird miraculously righted itself, prompting cheers from the crowd. Yet the seagull wasn't quite finished with its theatrics. In a surprising turn of events, it charged at the same fielder who dared to remove it, narrowly missing him during the next play. Was it seeking revenge, or just trying to create chaos on the field? Number 29. Excited fans. After defeating the home team, Dutch football club players were celebrating on the pitch in front of their fans when a small section of the stands suddenly collapsed. Wow, a terrifying moment. But for these fans, believe it or not, they seemed even more hyped after the collapse. Even the players were worried for a second, but when they realized no one was hurt, they started punching the air like they just got another victory. The stadium needs some work and some patience, couldn't take any more celebrating from the opposing team's fans. Number 30. Creepy. Lastly, we have a team of cheerleaders from North Korea cheering during the 2018 Winter Olympics. You might be wondering, what's so terrifying about that, right? These young women are mostly college students sent to international events to provide a charming display. But they are under tight supervision 24/7. Well, that woman in the black mask seems kind of tired of these girls and just gets up and leaves. And don't get me started on that guy in the red and white jacket. He's like that one friend in a group project who's there but has no clue what's going on. With that, our journey through the horrors of the sporting world comes to an end. Which clip did you find most terrifying, or have you witnessed a moment like this yourself? I would love to hear in the comments. Make sure to like the video and hit the little bell so you get notified when we post new videos just for you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.